What are some of the dumbest and strangest crimes people will commit? Let's find out, starting with number 6, money in the air. A Nigerian socialite who goes by the name Cubana Chief Priest has been charged with abusing Nigerian banknotes. Apparently, Mr. Cubana was caught on video throwing money in the air at different social events. In Nigeria, it's common to see rich people throw cash in the air as a sign of wealth and affluence. We don't exactly think it's the smartest thing to do, but then again, we've gone to the club before and wasted our money, so yeah. Anyways, we know that this is a video about dumb crimes, but we decided to start off with this strange and, dare we call it, dumb law. Anyway, Mr. Cubana, who calls himself a celebrity bartender and owns a popular nightclub in the oil-rich Delta state of Nigeria, which has 36 states, in case you didn't know, he's especially fond of this expensive act which is called spraying in Nigeria, which is similar to making it rain in the US, but seems like it's done more at like weddings and other events like that. Apparently, it's a celebrity thing where money is typically stuck on people or thrown at them. The government doesn't like spraying and calls it an act of currency abuse and made it illegal. Since the act of spraying the banknotes doesn't damage them, but because they fall to the ground because of gravity and are stepped on by partygoers and dancers, it's apparently disrespectful to the banknotes. Enforcement of the currency law has been lax, and many people still believe that they can break the law without consequences. Maybe that's what Mr. Cubana thought, and now he's the latest Nigerian celebrity to be charged with the crime. After he was charged to court, Mr. Cubana was released on bail for 10 million naira, which is about $8,600. After his release, he took to Instagram to address his 5 million followers and thank them for their love and care. Interestingly, the police have since dropped the case and will no longer be moving ahead with prosecution. No one really knows why the case was dropped, or at least they act like they don't know why the case was dropped, but police had previously gotten a conviction for the same charge against another celebrity, popular Nigerian who goes by Bobrisky. He was sentenced to 6 months in jail without the option of a fine by a Nigerian high court. We're sure Mr. Cubana probably has his ways of making charges go away. Number 5, not two cops. A mother and daughter duo were busted for transporting 62 pounds of the leafy greens through airport security in a pretty brazen attempt. Bridget Wilkins and her daughter, Victoria Wilkins, thought they could waltz through a Dallas airport crawling with law enforcement and sniffer canine dogs with 62 pounds of that special herb in their luggage. But they were sorely mistaken. Bridget had a bag that was emblazoned with a Los Angeles Police Department badge. Did she really think that the badge would allow her to walk through the airport without trouble? Or is this like a reverse where she thought that police would think that no one would be that dumb to try this? Anyways, it's a moot point since canines at the airport can't read and identify badges as well as humans can, so the dogs just flagged her anyway and she was promptly searched. Once the police got into her luggage, they found 27 bundles of that ever so popular leafy greens and then found 36 more bundles in her daughter's bags. One interesting fact to note is that Bridget and Victoria most likely weren't caught because canines have extremely good noses and are extremely accurate as most people assume. Police dogs are actually not all that accurate as they do identify a lot of false positives. The reason it's hard to get past police dogs is because of the fact that they flag so many random things. The chances of the duo being flagged randomly, even without pounds of plants in their bags, was already high. In the end, the police confiscated the banned substance, their clothes, luggages, and cell phones, and charged the mother-daughter duo. Another interesting thing about this case is that this wasn't Bridget's first time getting in trouble. In 2009, she was arrested as part of a massive international phishing scheme that swindled people out of at least $1.5 million. She was handed a 3-year suspended sentence for that crime. Number 4, false advertising. Young mom Jasmine Paez used a fake website on the internet to try and get rid of her 3-year-old son, and she's now been arrested. This mom presumably Googled for this specific service and came across some thankfully satirical website called rentahitman.com. The funny thing about this site is that it's so obviously fake and makes very absurd claims that you'd have to be really stupid to think it's real. For example, the site claims that the service is HIPAA compliant and that dark web hits are unsafe because of data data breaches. But for some reason, 18-year-old Jasmine thought it was a real service and went through the trouble of filling a web form and speaking to a consultant about her plans to put out a hit on her 3-year-old son. She also submitted the kid's picture and told the fake agent of the website the exact location the boy would be at. To make things worse, she agreed to pay $3,000 for the services. The site, which isn't a honeypoint site, which is basically a decoy site used by the police, but just a run-of-the-mill satirical website, contacted the police after deeming Jasmine's request too urgent to ignore. The owner of the site, Robert Inns, said that the fact that he could research the name of the intended target and see that they were an actual person living in the given area made him uneasy. This usually meant that the request was real and it wasn't just an equally satirical response. Inns said that the police didn't pay him a lot of attention at first and even threatened to issue a cease and desist letter if he continued to pester them. But he persisted anyway, and when they finally took him seriously, they discovered that the threat was real. The police quickly swept in to arrest Jasmine after tracking her IP to her address and confirming the identity of the toddler. Since the site in question is obviously satirical, it's hard to tell which way this case might go. It's very possible that Jasmine probably has some sort of mental issue. The website is seriously pretty funny, but a mother actually thinking is real and trying to take out her own baby is no joke. Hats off to Robert Inns, who most likely saved a life, because who knows what Jasmine might have ended up doing if she wasn't stopped. Number 3. Jacking the Cybertruck. One of the dumbest things a thief can steal right now in the middle of 2024 is a Cybertruck. But one dumb thief decided to do exactly that and stole the truck from a home in Delaware. Authorities aren't totally sure how he managed to even start the car, but they assume that it was possible because the owner was nearby with his card. Once the owner realized that his Cybertruck was stolen, he called the police, who easily found the truck. It was super easy because, surprise, surprise, all Tesla vehicles come with a ton of security features that make them very easy to track. Who would have thought that the latest high-end electric vehicle would have a ton of security features, right? Imagine that. Anyway, the trucks have a built-in GPS that broadcasts their location to the owner through the Tesla app, and they can even be remotely disabled through the app as well. So when an officer arrived at the home the truck was stolen from, he was able to quickly locate the vehicle through the enabled GPS tracking in the Tesla app. The police found the vehicle on a dirt road less than a mile away from the house, and the suspect, who was still in the vehicle, tried to get away. However, the pursuit was brief because the thief probably realized how impractical it would be to escape with the vehicle. So he turned the car off and quickly surrendered to the arresting officer. So he was dumb, but not like incredibly dumb. Good for him. The thing about stealing a Tesla Cybertruck in 2024 is that it's a car that sticks out. The car clearly has a very distinctive look, and this means that it attracts attention, and almost everyone will remember where they see one. And if you haven't seen one in person, they're a lot bigger than you'd expect. The truck is still somewhat a rare sight as of the release of this video, so there aren't exactly multiple Cybertrucks on the road at the same time everywhere like it is for the average car. Number 2. Orange Getaway. A couple of thieves stole $1.8 million worth of products in a matter of seconds and then almost literally disappeared into thin air. The thieves wore hoods and masks on their faces when they burst into a store at a Miami Beach hotel and then swiped some pricey Hermes bags, throwing them into a garbage can they bought. The crazy thing about this robbery is that the thieves spent only about 43 seconds in the store and stole around 60 Birkin bags. Do we need to say Birkin bags are extremely expensive? They start off at over 11 grand for a single bag and can even get into the hundreds of thousands of dollars in the secondary market. By the time they were done, they'd made away with about $1.8 million worth of fine leather goods. When the police arrived on the scene, they found the door to the boutique propped open with the lock punched out, signaling that the thieves had broken in crudely. However, these thieves could run, but they couldn't hide. Just a few hours later, the police tracked one of the thieves down through the license plates of the inconspicuously bright orange Hyundai Santa Fe that brought both robbers to the store. The suspect that was apprehended was a man named Eduardo Treviso Garcia, who has since been arrested and charged. Maybe next time when he steals millions of dollars worth of luxury goods, he won't allow surveillance cameras to catch his plates and drive off in a truck that's painted in possibly one of the most eye-catching colors available. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay tuned right here to find out some of the dumbest ways people blow money. Number 1. No separation. Heather McCarthy, a disgraced staff recruitment officer, claimed that she had a baby in order to avoid going to jail at her sentencing hearing. Heather only brought up this baby on the day she was supposed to be sentenced and claimed that no one knew about her child because she suffered from postnatal depression. Since judges only separate kids from their mothers as a last resort, Heather thought this lie would get her out of jail and would only earn a probation sentence. And she was correct. Once the judge heard that she had a child, he decided to give her a suspended sentence to avoid separating her from her child. But the thing about such huge lies is that it's near impossible to keep them going. After her court appearance, people who knew her started to raise suspicions about the existence of this supposed kid, so she was called back to court in order to provide a birth certificate. But Heather told the court that she would produce the certificate, but she couldn't right then because it was in storage. Eventually, she just broke down and confessed that she made the whole thing up in a panic. Of course, this earned her another court date, and this time she couldn't get out of actual prison time through lying. Her original 8-month sentence was promptly activated. So what did Heather do to even end up in jail in the first place? Well, she was working as a recruitment officer for a firm, and her job was to hire employees and ensure their papers and timestamps were in order. Not long after she was hired, her employers set a meeting to discuss her falling standards. Apparently, Heather wasn't very good at her job. But of course, she didn't go to that meeting and instead chose to resign. Sensing something was shady, her employers launched an investigation into her work records and discovered that she'd stolen over £7,700 from them. She stole this money by filling timestamps for salaries that went straight into her account, and she did it about 20 times. After her arrest, Heather claimed she committed the crime because a former partner knew about her criminal history and was ready to share it with the class. Apparently, she had gotten in trouble for doing the exact same thing, embezzling, with another company and got a suspended sentence for it. Obviously, she didn't disclose this critical and apparently consequential fact to her more recent employers. So in court, Heather explained that she gave the ex part of the stolen money and then spent the rest on drinks and catering to her own nose beer problem. She said she ultimately resigned from the company because she wanted to keep her resume unblemished, and that was why her more recent employers didn't know about her previously suspended sentence. It's so stupid to just make up a fake kid to get away with a crime, right? Just a quick check would prove that she didn't have a kid. Who are the people that just love blowing their money in the most questionable ways? Let's find out, starting with number 6, Mayor Miguel Villalobos. Mexican Mayor Miguel Villalobos hired some adult dancers to perform at a Father's Day event. Villalobos invited hundreds of dads to the event held in the municipality's auditorium. Although it was a Father's Day event, Villalobos made it clear that the party was just for the dads and that no women or children were allowed. They enjoyed live music, a comedy show, and a raffle where some attendees won TVs, fans, and microwaves. Then, a group of dancers stepped out on stage. One of the partygoers filmed the entire performance, which is a pretty serious violation of the bro code, isn't it? The dancers were filmed picking 3 men to lie on the stage floor and receive, let's just call it, a full artistic performance. In video footage that later went viral, it was clear that, despite the invite stating that just the men were invited, several women and children attended but left in disgust when the dancers began their performance. Many people spoke out against Villalobos' event, saying that Father's Day should be about father figures in people's lives and the role that a father plays in his family. A local feminist organization condemned the event and wrote, quote, "Father's Day was conceived to highlight the importance of the father figure in people's lives, emphasizing his role in the integration and maintenance of the family nucleus." They then went out to say that it was unfortunate that the mayor decided to put on this particular show and called for the local officials to receive proper training on gender issues. Number 5. Dyeing the dog. California dog groomer Angela Schoonover spent hundreds of dollars to make her poodle, Zoe, look like a unicorn. The dog spa owner adopted Zoe when Zoe was 1 and started experimenting with the poodle's fur color. The first time she experimented with her pet's fur was for 4th of July when she dyed Zoe's paws red, white, and blue. Schoonover discovered that the pup's easygoing and fun-loving personality made her the perfect fit to try out some creative looks with. She wanted Zoe's look to be playful and unconventional, and opted for bright shades of blue, pink, and purple to create the dog's unique aesthetic. Schoonover originally wanted to sign Zoe up for competitions where groomers give dogs makeovers and the best-looking dogs win. However, for Zoe to compete, she would need a standard poodle cut, which Schoonover didn't feel would fit her furry friend's personality. Because Schoonover thinks that not only does the dog understand what type of look it wants, but that it's also aware of a mythical creature and feels like that matches her personality better. What a highly intelligent dog! While grooming competitions would have been good for her career, Schoonover preferred giving creative and playful cuts than those that the American Kennel Club recognized. And if Zoe competed in the competitions, the majority of her fur would have to be her natural white color. Since Schoonover knew she wanted Zoe to look different from other dogs, she decided to focus on achieving a unicorn look instead. Pictures and videos of Zoe went viral, leading a bunch of people to accuse Schoonover of animal mistreatment. The commenters believed the dog groomer was using human-grade hair dyeing products, which would be dangerous for Zoe's skin and fur. Schoonover claimed to use pet-safe vegan dye, which she said was similar to dyeing fur with blueberry juice. She also said that the coloring was very gentle on a dog's skin, and it felt like a constant massage for Zoe. The criticism hasn't stopped Schoonover from making Zoe the spokesdog of Muse Dog Spa, her grooming salon. Since she spent hundreds of dollars to turn the poodle into a unicorn, it made sense that she would employ the dog as a member of the business's marketing team. But are dogs really enjoying this dyeing process? Number 4. Brian Johnson. Tech mogul Brian Johnson resorted to receiving his teenage son's plasma in an attempt to reverse the aging process. Johnson underwent several plasma transfusions from someone that was young and healthy that he screened to ensure that the donor lived a healthy lifestyle, was free of diseases, and had an ideal body mass index. It sounds dumb, but there's actual research backing it. The science behind using plasma transfusions to slow down the aging process comes from experimentation with mice. A group of scientists from the University of California, Berkeley, discovered in 2005 that conjoining young and old mice changed their cellular ages. The scientists conjoined an old mouse with a young mouse and found that over a 5-week period, the old mice healed as quickly as the young mice did, and the old mice also grew new liver cells as quickly as the new mice. Scientists discovered in another study that transferring blood from an older mouse into a younger one would speed up the aging process. Using the experiments on mice's blueprints, the rich mogul decided that he would be more likely to achieve his anti-aging goals if he received plasma donations from his 17-year-old son, Talmage, combined with a donation from his 70-year-old father, Richard. Talmage and Richard did the procedures at a Dallas clinic, which removed a liter of blood from the two men and converted it via a machine into separate batches of liquid plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Johnson received the transfusions with the goal of repairing cellular damage caused by the aging process by replacing old blood in an older body with new blood from a younger one. The mogul's father also found the procedure extremely beneficial, as he received a transfusion from such healthy donors. Johnson, who's supposedly worth $500 million, said that in 2 years he reduced his overall biological age by over 5 years. He also claimed to have the heart of a 37-year-old, skin of a 28-year-old, and lung capacity and overall fitness of an 18-year-old. Johnson followed what he called Project Blueprint, an extremely strict regime focused on finding the fountain of youth. It involved electromagnetic pulse treatments to improve his muscle tone and wearing blue light glasses for 2 hours before going to sleep, which he did at the same time every single day. To keep his body fat levels between 5 and 6%, Johnson ate exactly 1,977 calories. Richard also followed his son's extreme program and lost 50 pounds in the process. Although the tech tycoon claimed his goals were health-focused, he received significant criticism from medical experts who believed his obsession was based on his anxiety around his mortality. Wanting to live longer or even forever isn't new or unusual, but the lengths that this guy is actually going through and has gone through just to live a little bit longer and look younger is just weird. Plus, he still looks old. Let us know what you guys think. Number 3. The Gambler. U.S. agents arrested the head of New York's biggest federal credit union for embezzling over $6 million. Cam Wong was the CEO of Municipal Credit Union, where he earned over $684,000 annually. Despite his high earnings, Wong stole millions of dollars from his employer. He filed fake invoices for dental work he never received and additional money to cover his tax liability. Wong also filed reimbursement claims for long-term insurance and unnecessary repairs to his Mercedes-Benz. While he embezzled some of the money to lead a more luxurious quality of life, he blew $3.9 million to fund his lottery problem. Wong spent hours of his free time buying and playing lottery tickets. During his time at the credit union, Wong wrote 216 checks to 2 convenience stores and withdrew a total of $1.9 million in small increments from a local ATM. Wong often visited the stores several times a day to purchase lottery tickets. Wong also scammed his employer with long-term disability insurance. Wong requested that Municipal Credit Union's board forego the $1 million in insurance payments on his behalf and instead pay him $200,000 directly. Although the board didn't agree to his offer, he still got the money. Wong increased the cash payments of his insurance plan by seeking out inflated insurance costs from brokers, which made him $6.5 million. Federal agents learned of Wong's deception and arrested him. They charged him with embezzlement, fraud, and aggravated identity theft. He ended up being convicted for his crimes and getting 5.5 years in prison for this dumb decision. Number 2. Debt for likes. Sarah Bartlett racked up $15,000 in debt to create a perfect Instagram-worthy image, which is highly questionable. Bartlett always loved shopping online and regularly spent money on extravagant nights out, but she always lived within her means. That is, until she decided to buy a car after a promotion at work, which she paid for with a 0% interest credit card. While she slowly paid back the car, her spending habits grew out of control. Although she made roughly $35,000 a year, she frequently bought designer handbags and clothes, new iPhones, and other expensive items without worrying about her growing credit card debt. Bartlett admitted that she liked to own nice things and felt like she always needed the newest version of everything. This big spender admitted to being impatient when it came to wanting to buy something and would use her credit card to make purchases that she planned to pay off when she got paid. However, that proved to be nearly impossible. Bartlett's financial troubles got worse when she developed the habit of moving money from one card to the other to make the minimum payments. And her spending habits didn't stop when lockdown hit, as she felt that buying clothes and purses helped her feel connected to the outside world. During that time, she also felt increased pressure to present a perfect image on Instagram. After 6 years of overspending, Bartlett had racked up $15,000 of debt spread across 8 credit cards. Soon, even the minimum $221 monthly payments were a struggle to pay. In 2021, her mortgage company doubled her payments, during which time she still spent $600 more per month than she could afford. Bartlett knew she had to make a change and created a strict budget to help her tackle her debt. She made a plan for every penny she received when she got paid, and it completely changed her life. Over the course of 22 months, she repaid $13,500 and hoped to help others overcome their money troubles and shopping problems. Bartlett advocated for schools to teach kids how to set up budgets and educate them on how interest and credit cards work. The reformed shopaholic also went to therapy to work through her need to buy things as a way of fitting in and making her life appear more glamorous than it was. Unfortunately, many people get into debt when they try to make themselves appear like someone they're not on social media. But good for her, right? Getting out of debt is difficult, and the fact that she did it the way you're supposed to deserves credit. Number 1. The Bet. Deported criminal Alexander Visage posted pictures on his social media to flaunt his wealth after sneaking back into the UK. You'd think that if you'd already been deported and you snuck back in, you'd try to keep a low profile. But Visage was apparently needy and wanted some attention. He had been previously extradited from the UK to Germany to face burglary and criminal damage charges. He served a 3-month jail sentence before the German government sent him back to his home country, Albania. Then, the wannabe rapper, because of course he was, decided to return to Britain, where he branded himself the king of TikTok and bragged about his rock star lifestyle. Yeah, we were shocked to discover that TikTok is actually a monarchy as well, but there you have it. Visage shared a social media post where he wore designer clothing and posed in front of his $85,000 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. Although the vehicle was up to date with its inspections, it wasn't insured to drive on UK roads. Visage insisted that he funded his seemingly extravagant lifestyle by working as a professional poker player, videographer, and motivational speaker. Where he really gets his income is something we're not going to speculate about. He posted a video to his TikTok from a luxurious high-rise apartment in London where he asked fellow Albanians for support in an online poker game. Visage's brother, Dorian, was so confident that Visage would win that he said he would torch his $65,000 Mercedes if he didn't. Then, Visage lost. Dorian kept his word and live streamed himself setting his luxury vehicle on fire, which Visage watched in a split-screen TikTok video. Dorian still lived in the brother's hometown and also appeared to be very wealthy, but unlike his brother, there was no reason to believe his money came from crime. Visage had likely got back into the UK by using a fake passport after entering an EU country legally on a visa waiver program, and then flew or took a ferry to Britain, which seems like a whole lot of work to then advertise your presence on social media. And we doubt anyone really expected Dorian to actually torch his Mercedes, but hey, he wanted to show everyone he was a man of his word. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comments section what you'd rather have: $50,000 a month for life or $8 million cash right now.